The African Saga is basically a timeline story that pulls true stories, true events from the time where we were once free in our own country to the enslavement, back to emancipation. Now we're free, but we don't know what to do, to where we are today. A lot of the old saying, if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going. It gives a lot of the youth that's involved more stories of where we come from. A lot of times in school we hear about, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks. Not to discredit them in any kind of way, but there are more stories that the kids need to be exposed to, that they need to know more about. Some they might get to find out what happened in their own lineage by knowing about the African Saga. Some kids, they go back and research their own lineage and everything. So it's a beautiful story that is not just a Black history piece, but it's a year-round piece that kids can learn from. I have seen kids that started with me in the program. I always ask them how they're doing at school before we go into any of the lessons or anything. And most about D, C, average. So when I start putting paperwork in front of them, and I put the strong demands on them, turn the TV off, get off of Facebook, get off the telephone, learn these lines. Once the youth start recognizing that I can do this, I can work, their confidence, it builds like a roaring lion. And before you know it, they're coming in, okay, I learned this part, I learned that part. And I'm just watching them grow in their confidence. And once you have a confident child that believes that they can accomplish, it's no stopping them. You put whatever I put in front of them now, they just soak it up, and very, very quickly, very effectively. And it's just a wonderful thing to see. When kids who don't have fathers at home come up, when I come into the room and they come up and they hug me and they tell me about their day and they say, "Hi, Dad," instead of "Mr. Ishmel," they have adopted me, they see me as a father figure. That's always memorable. It touches my heart, and I feel a sense of responsibility that if that's how they see me, then I must give them that level of attention, that level of responsibility back. Or when the kids come up and they say, "I went to the library because you told us about a particular story." One was like Sarah Bartman. One of the kids came back and showed me that they went to the library, they found a book, and they read the book, and I'm like, okay, if this is opening up their interest to go back to the library, which is a place where most kids do not hang out today, to go and they come and show me that they're learning these things, it's memorable. Or the dyslexic student that will come and I make them learn the speech, and they will twist the words around. And then, no, learn it like you see it. Put the demand on them, and then see that rise up in them that, wow, I can do this, I can do this. It's just countless memorable moments that I have when that student comes off stage and they get that applause, and a real applause for doing a real good job. It's just breathtaking for me. What I try to accomplish working with students through the arts and music is to open their minds, open their opportunities up. A lot of times, most of our urban youth only know what their surroundings are. If they only see the streets that they grew up on, then they have limited choices, limited opportunities. But through arts, through entertainment, through the stage, they have a lot more opportunities. So I try to make sure that kids get those opportunities.
Hi, my name is Anna Johnson, and I'm a product of Mr. Jamal'e Ishmel's work. I say that proudly because I know that much of my success today can be traced back to the seeds that Mr. Ishmel planted in me when I was in my youth. I worked with Mr. Ishmel from about the age of 7 to about the age of 15, and during that time, I was able to engage in so many opportunities, including vocal training, theater training and productions, and many leadership opportunities. Recently, actually this past May, I graduated with my bachelor's from Michigan State University in Human Development and Family Studies. And I know that the determination and the drive and the intrinsic motivation that I have is from seeds that Mr. Ishmel planted back in my youth. I am so thankful for that because Mr. Ishmel also taught us to reach for the stars, that the sky is the limit, and that anything we want to do, we can do it as long as we put our mind to it. So with that being said, I will be continuing on to get my master's in child development to plant those same seeds in youth all around me, just like Mr. Ishmel did when he was working in the Great Lakes Bay region. Thank you, Mr. Ishmel, for all the work that you did, all the seeds that you planted, and all the successful youth that you have planted into this earth. You are awesome, and I am so grateful for working with you.
My experience working with Mr. Ishmel and some of the things that he taught me, first off the bat, number one was discipline, learning how to be on time for things, um, knowing how to greet people, knowing how to speak in front of large crowds, just basically knowing how to govern yourself accordingly to put yourself in the best situation to win. One thing that I'll never forget is the discipline statement that you guys may or may not have heard of already. Ishmael has an amazing discipline statement that whoever learns it and drills it and understands it will forever stick with you throughout life. And I just want to say thank you, Mr. Ishmael, for all that you've taught, and wish you well in many endeavors.
Hello, my name is Albertus Johnson, and I'm the proud pastor of Kingdom Life Ministries Church here in Saginaw, Michigan. I am also a board member of First Ward Community Services located in Saginaw, Michigan. I wanted to come today to offer my recommendation for Mr. Jamal'e Ishmel and the program he has for youth. I experienced his programs both on a level of a parent as well as an organizational leader. And I have found this program to be effective, so effective that the young people who participated are using the skills they learned even to this day in their young adult life. I can speak about my two daughters, Anna and Sierra, personally. I watched them become groomed, and I saw the discipline and the dedication they learned from being with Mr. Ishmel. What I love about it as a parent, I was able to trust him. His integrity, his dedication is unmatched. He is somewhat of a perfectionist, but that's what we need in this day. People who are dedicated to getting it right. So I thank him always for what he did in my children's life rather, and the young people in our church. And so I highly recommend this program. Anyone who has the opportunity to be a part of it will absolutely be impacted in the most positive way. Thank you for this opportunity and the best wishes.
One thing that I'll never forget is the discipline statement. One thing that I'll never forget is the discipline statement. One thing that I'll never forget is the discipline statement. Discipline statement. Discipline is the bedrock of any successful enterprise involving children and youth. For where there is no self-discipline, there will soon be self-destruction. Obedience is the key to discipline.
My name is Demetria Drain. I am 30 years old. I met Mr. Ishmel when I was about 19 to 20 years old at First Ward. Mr. Ishmel taught me about the African saga, how it impacted my life. I played the Emma Till a couple years ago. Mr. Ishmel has a lot to do with that because he taught me how to come out of my shell when it comes to acting. This generation needs to know more about African history. Mr. Ishmel he's a great teacher. And the teaching that he does, he's tough, but it's worth every bit because it affects my life still to this day. Mr. Ishmel is a pusher. He does not give up on you. If he sees potential in you, he's going to push you very hard. Mr. Ishmel is one of my top faves. I'm never disappointed. I'm still learning from him to this day, and I thank him for the opportunity for letting me work with him.
Hi, my name is Jamal'e Jackson, and I want to give a testimony. This program to me was dynamite. When I say dynamite, it was like a big wham on my son, Demetri Jackson. Let me explain a little bit about my son, Demetri Jackson. I'm not ashamed to tell you that anybody that I adopted him, and he don't mind it too, because to him, he said, "Mom, you're the best thing that ever happened." Okay, so I said to him, "We're gonna put you in this class because this class can teach you a lot." I didn't know that my son had a low self-esteem until we got into this class. I mean, it really came out. Not only that, he had therapy. Within his therapy, I didn't find out what I found out through this class. But as Demetri began to talk to me about this class, and when I tell you this class that was well structured, this class was well structured. Thanks, Mr. Ishmel. This teacher, Mr. Ishmel, taught those kids as if those were his own children. When I say structure, I mean structure. Okay, Demetri recited the Dr. Martin Luther King speech from beginning to end. I thought it was too hard for him, which it was not. Okay, even within this class, he had theater, so he had done a little acting. He became one of the mimers, which is one of our praise dancers, like the leader of the praise dancers. He was making up praise dancers. Thank God for that. He did other speeches in church. I mean, some of us couldn't do some of the stuff Demetri was doing. But with this class, I tell you, with the Ishmel sisters and their dad, Mr. Ishmel, like I say, they were dynamite. They were beautiful. Demetri, I mean, the best of Demetri came out of him. We went to different places throughout Michigan, the little small places, big places. I mean, we was all over. And we really enjoyed that. Demetri enjoyed that too. And even with Demetri, with this class, I ended up putting him into a piano class. But with this class, it brought out a lot. It brought out the real Demetri. Whatever they was looking for when he went to therapy, it never came out. But when we went to this group of kids with the Ishmel, and within Mr. Ishmel, I'm talking about stuff was coming out that you couldn't even imagine. My son right now is 25 years old. He's doing well right now. He talks about this class now. He still talks about it, about what it done to him and how it helped. So he said, Mom, Mr. Ishmel, he used to say Mr. Ishmel was hard at first. And I said, Dimitri, it's just structure. And I said, we all need structure. So to Mr. Ishmel, thank you. And I hope that anybody come in contact with you when it has to do with a child, that they learn a lot from you, because you are the bomb. When I say the bomb, you are the bomb.
One thing that I'll never forget is the discipline statement. One thing that I'll never forget is the discipline statement. One thing that I'll never forget is the discipline statement. Discipline statement. Discipline is the bedrock of any successful enterprise involving children and youth, for where there is no self-discipline, there will soon be self-destruction. Obedience is the key to discipline, and like anything else, discipline and obedience must be taught, modeled, and reinforced if it is to be of any lasting consequences. We believe that through obedience, children and youth will learn.
Hi, my name is Sierra Johnson, and I had the opportunity to work with Mr. Ishmel around 10 years ago, between the ages of 7 and 10. And I would really suggest anybody who has the opportunity to work in this program to take advantage of it. As a young child, we were taught to exercise things like discipline, etiquette, self-control, manners, stage presence, and so many more. There's so many things that you're going to be able to learn in this program, and it's things that you're not going to be able to get anywhere else. This is not a program that is offered often by many people, and even if it is, you're not going to get the level of intensity and the level of just mentorship that you would get in this program with Mr. Ishmel. He has an individual love for all of his students, and even today I use all of the principles that we learned in that program, and it's helped me become a well-rounded young adult. I'm in college now, and I am in several programs. I am on social media. I am growing my platforms, and as I am growing and working with companies and doing things like that, I still remember the things that he taught me in this program, and they stick with me everywhere that I go, whether it's intentional or unintentional. So if you have the opportunity to work with him, really take advantage of it. You're going to have a great time. You're going to learn a lot, and you're going to become a better person than you were when you started.
Hello everyone, my name is Renicia Quinn. I'm 22 years old, and yes, I recommend Mr. Ishmel's program to any young person that is willing to be disciplined enough to go forth with this program. Mr. Ishmel was like a father figure to me. He taught me so much. He taught me how to be assertive of myself. He taught me how to pronunciate my words. He taught me how to be seen and not heard. And let me elaborate more on that. Seen as in when you walk forth in this room, what do people notice about you? Do people notice that you stand tall, you hold your head high? Can you speak well? Seen and not heard. Not being the loudest African American kid in the room, as they say, ghetto. But I love Mr. Ishmel. I love everything that he has taught me. He has made me a great young person. I don't think without him in his program, I would have been the young person I am today, because he just taught me so much. How to be a nice young lady, how to speak, how to act, how to just carry myself in a different manner. Singing, acting, performance-wise, he's just overall the best. And he is willing to work with anyone who is willing to change or to be that young person that can stick it out. His program is not the easiest. Nothing in life ever comes easy. He has taught us that many times. But if you really want it and you're willing to work for it, Mr. Ishmel will make sure you get it. Everything that he's taught me, I use to this day. How to sit, how to stand, how to project my voice, how to carry myself. Everything that Mr. Ishmel has taught me, I still use. And like I said, I do not believe I will be anywhere without Mr. Ishmel. His program opened up so many doors and opportunities for me to perform, to speak. I've won many different performance awards through Mr. Ishmel. If it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have took a lot of stuff serious. I wouldn't have got this far. I wouldn't have competed how I compete now, how I talk, how I do my spoken word now. I wouldn't have done any of this. Even right now, this is a challenge for me. I'm not saying this would have been a challenge for me. I would have made an excuse now with making this video of, COVID-19, I don't feel too well. Mr. Ishmel made sure that we pushed ourselves as young people to become excellence, Black excellence. So I recommend his program to any young person that's willing to accept him and accept his family and go up under his wings and being able to be taught.
One thing that I'll never forget is the discipline statement, and drills it and understands it will forever stick with you throughout life. One thing that I'll never forget is the discipline statement, and drills it and understands it will forever stick with you throughout life. One thing that I'll never forget is the discipline statement, and drills it and understands it will forever stick with you throughout life.
I'm making this report to let you guys know that this is a very great program for your child to be in. This is my son, Kadarian. Say hi, Kadarian.
Hi.
Kadarian has learned so much being in this program. He has learned discipline and obedience. Everything about my son has changed since he's been in this program, and it's only been 3 weeks. So I just encourage all the parents out there to get your child involved. It is very great to have in your family, and it's great for your child to be in to learn discipline and obedience. Everything about him has changed. He was getting in trouble at school and stuff before he got into this program, and now he's using his proper manner. Yes ma'am, no ma'am. When I call him, he right there. I only have to call his name one time. He just changed all the way around the board. I can honestly say I'm pleased with how he has been. Phone call home, kicked off the bus twice since school started, playing around, class clown, different things of that nature. His teacher called and told me that everything about Kadarian has changed. His school have, I guess they call it scholar dollars. He received a few of those. He was able to buy some things at school on Friday because he earned so many of them just by good behavior.
I learned a lot, and I learned discipline. Discipline is the bedrock of any successful enterprise involving children and youth. For where there is no self-discipline, there will soon be self-destruction. Obedience is the key to discipline. And like anything else, discipline and obedience must be taught, modeled, and reinforced if it is to be of any lasting consequences. We believe that through obedience, children and youth learn the the benefits of personal discipline and are thereby able to learn more to lead more productive and successful lives.
Discipline statement. Discipline is the bedrock of any successful enterprise involving children and youth, for where there is no self-discipline, there will soon be self-destruction. Obedience is the key to discipline, and like anything else, discipline and obedience must be taught, modeled, and reinforced if it is to be of any lasting consequences. We believe that through obedience, children and youth will learn the benefits of personal discipline and thereby enabled to lead a more productive and successful life.